Welcome back. You already know what this is. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. As y'all can see, I'm on the road. I'm not in my usual spot. You know what I'm saying? I had to come out to LA to handle some business, but I still have thoughts, right? I still have things that I got to say, so I appreciate y'all still rocking out with me. All right, today, Tommy Richman, singer from Virginia, 24 years old. I think he's 24 years old, pretty young guy. Most know him from his single $1 Million Baby. The record peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 earlier this year. I first heard of Tommy on a song called Bunker Pre-Roll that he did in 2022 with a Virginia MC by the name of My Name Isn't J-Mac. We had did some work with J-Mac over at Genius, and I got familiar with Tommy from then. You know what I'm saying? So I knew about Tommy for a couple of years, but $1 Million Baby, I mean, this is really like his breakout year. And so, you know, Tommy has this kind of 80s funk vibe. He just dropped his debut album, Coyote. He isn't a rapper by any means, but $1 Million Baby was very, very much embraced by hip hop. It got a lot of radio play on Hot 97 in New York. For those who don't know, Hot 97 is the de facto hip-hop station, that and Power 105. Shout out to Power 105, the two hip-hop stations in New York. Though I actually believe Hot 97's format technically is top 40, but even still, the station played it. Most people embraced it. Funk Flex, who is the veteran DJ at the station, pushed back on the record for sure. I think Joe Budden had some real criticism about the record. But other than that, hip-hop basically like embraced the record, right? And that's why there was some blowback yesterday when Tommy Richman tweeted, "I'm not a hip hop artist." And then in a separate tweet, he did Coyote Album of the Year. Now, it's worth to note here, this is very important, that Tommy is a white guy. He's a white artist. And I know there's always going to be somebody in the comments, why you got to bring up race, man? Why you always got to talk about race? Because it matters and it has context here, right? So Tommy said, "I'm not a hip hop artist." DJ Head, shout out to my guy DJ Head. He has the show The Bigger Picture with Elliot Wilson, with Jeremy Heck. Shout out to those guys. So Head quote tweeted Tommy and said, "For sure. So every hip hop station playing $1 Million Baby should stop today. Thanks for the heads up. You know, since you're not a hip hop artist, then all the hip hop stations should stop just playing the record." So Tommy responded. He says, "I'll say again, I'm thankful for everything. I'm saying I don't want to be boxed in. I grew up on hip hop, but I'm a singer." Head responded, "Understood. However, there are nuances that can be perceived when statements are made. I don't believe you have malicious intent, but I do believe there's much to be learned about the system that you have entered within this thing that we do. I hope this works out for you." Parentheses, not sarcasm. Then Tommy tweeted on his own, "I meant to say I'm not solely a hip hop artist." Okay. So Tommy isn't a rapper at all, right? If you listen to his music, he is not a rapper. Not even close. He's a singer. Now, singers can be hip-hop. Mary J. Blige is R&B, but Mary J. Blige is hip-hop. Ashanti is R&B, but Ashanti is hip-hop. Keisha Cole is R&B, but Keisha Cole is hip-hop. On Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Lauryn raps and sings R&B, but that's a hip-hop album. The beats, the way it moves, you know, the beats that Mary J. Blige was singing over, that Ashanti was singing over. You know, on Miseducation, Lauryn Hill is singing over like Wu-Tang inspired beats. Tribe Called Quest inspired beats, the way it moves, the way it swings, the swag of a lot of R&B artists also fit in the hip hop world, and it's different from, let's say, a classic or a traditional R&B artist like Anita Baker, right? There's just a hip hop swag to it. So, but Tommy, not a rapper, whether or not he's hip hop, debatable. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the records have more of an 80s funk vibe. Kind of think about like The Weeknd, you know, like, is The Weeknd hip hop? I mean, I say yeah because of his proximity, but you know, people also got to define themselves how they want. But regardless, right? Tommy, hip hop embraced Tommy and helped to elevate him and his record. So part of the backlash has little to do with Tommy as much as it has to do with the history of white artists in hip hop who come into the genre only to turn around and reject it, right? It's an emotional response because we've been burned before. And I'm not saying DJ Head is being emotional. That was a pretty measured and appropriate response in my opinion. But it comes from the emotion. It comes from, yo, we've been burned before. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen this before. It just seems that white artists can come into hip hop, reap the benefits, then jump out when it doesn't suit them in a way that black artists can't, right? And I have some examples. When Tyler dropped Igor and then he won the Grammy in 2020 for Best Rap Album, he spoke up. He said the win in the rap category felt like a backhanded compliment. There's a quote here. He said, "It sucks that whenever we, and I mean guys that look like me, do anything that's genre bending or that's anything, they'll always put us in the rap or urban category. I don't like that urban word. It's just a politically correct way to say the N word to me." Now, if you listen to Igor is not a rap album. Tyler's a rapper. Tyler is absolutely hip hop. Igor is not a rap album. In 2019, Billboard removed Lil Nas X's Old Town Road from the country charts. Took it off the country charts because they determined that it wasn't country enough. All right, so country, they gatekeep. The gatekeepers at country kept Lil Nas out. The song ended up running the Hot 100 that year anyway. 19 weeks straight, it was number one. But they weren't willing to accept Lil Nas X as one of them. They didn't embrace him, the way that hip hop embraces. And I'll give examples of that later. Beyonce, though she's not a rapper by any means, very much a pop star, very much rooted in R&B, but she exists in hip hop. And her country album, Cowboy Carter, came out earlier this year, wasn't nominated this year at the CMAs. But Beyonce made the album partly because she wasn't made to feel welcome at the CMAs anyway. She performed in 2016 with the Chicks, and Beyonce, talked about like impetus for creating this album was that she felt rejected, even though Beyonce is from Houston, like grew up listening to country music and just wasn't made to feel welcome at the CMAs in 2016. So that's partly why, or that's an inspiration, one of the inspirations on why we got Cowboy Carter. But Beyonce said herself, she said this wasn't a country album, it was a Beyonce album. But come on, y'all. And she said that in an Instagram post as the album was about to drop. But let's be real, her not getting a nomination at the CMA sent a very clear message. 2008, Jay-Z was the first hip-hop artist to headline Glastonbury, which is a British rock festival, and Noel Gallagher from Oasis said having hip-hop at the festival felt wrong. And then, that's when Jay-Z picked up the guitar, he sung Wonderwall. So there's always kind of been, again, this backlash of black artists moving into other genres. It's been gatekept. It not as welcome with open arms, right? On the other hand, white artists can seemingly come in and out of hip hop and move out the genre as they please, and partly because we're accepting. Maybe we shouldn't be so accepting. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a pretty open-minded guy, but it has me questioning, like, should we be so accepting? In 2015, Post Malone broke through, right? What was the breakout single? White Iverson. It's a diamond record. It peaked number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100. White Iverson denotes something. You're sending a message when your first single is called White Iverson. The song wasn't called John Stockton. It wasn't called Steve Nash. Those are two great Hall of Fame caliber NBA point guards. You could have named the song John Stockton. You could have named it Steve Nash. It was called White Iverson, and in the video you had cornrows and you had grills. We know what Iverson meant to hip-hop. Well, he meant to basketball. He was amazing on the court. But Iverson, as opposed to Jordan, like Jordan, it was amazing growing up watching Jordan and things he could do on the court, but Jordan never represented hip-hop. Jordan wasn't even really a hip-hop fan. When we saw Iverson, like, as the hip-hop generation, it's like, oh, we saw one of us. The tattoos, the swag, the braids, you know what I'm saying? He even rapped a little. So when you call your song White Iverson, you're saying something, right? Screamed hip-hop, and we accepted it. XXL editor-in-chief Vanessa Satin said that Post wasn't on the freshman cover because his team said that he was moving away from hip-hop. Post refuted that that year, and he said he was just tired and didn't feel like getting on the flight to NYC. You got to take him at his word, right? But go back to 2017, during an interview, Post had some pretty negative things to say about hip-hop. I'm going to read this quote. He said, if you're looking for lyrics, if you're looking to cry, if you're looking to think about life, don't listen to hip-hop. There's great hip-hop songs where they talk about life and they spit that real shit, but right now there's not a lot of people talking about real shit. Whenever I want to cry, whenever I want to sit down and have a nice cry, I'll listen to Bob Dylan. Whenever I'm trying to have a good time and stay in a positive mood, I listen to hip-hop because it's fun. I think that hip-hop is important because it brings people together in a beautiful, happy way. And why can't both things be true? Hip-hop is deeply emotional. Again, we talk about it all the time. You take an artist like Kendrick. You take an artist like J. Cole. You take an artist like Jid. You see what Lecrae just did. Like, yes, hip-hop is fun and is the music in the club and all of that, and we have fun to it. But to suggest that hip-hop doesn't have, like, emotionally touching, heartfelt lyrics things that make you think about life. Like he said, if you're looking to think about life, don't listen to hip hop. Like, yo, that's crazy, man. After we accepted you, but it's this constant slap in the face. He later walked that back. He later apologized for that. Let's look at Miley Cyrus in 2003. She dropped her album Bangers. First of all, that's a hip hop word. Then she put a Z at the end of it. Bangers with a Z. Like, again, you're trying to communicate something. The whole record was produced by Mike Will. She even described the music herself as dirty South hip hop. That same year, she performed at the MTV VMAs. I worked at MTV that year. I was there in the building with Robin Thicke, and she grinded all on him. It was pretty sexed up. It was provocative. She was doing some form of twerking, but they caught backlash for that too. Then fast forward 2017 in the Billboard interview, now she's pushing a pop rock album. She's moved out the genre. She's not doing hip hop no more. And she told Billboard, I can't listen to that anymore. That meaning hip hop. I can't listen to that anymore. That's what pushed me out of the hip hop scene a little. It was too much Lamborghini, got my Rolex, got a girl on my cock. And then she eventually apologized for her comments. But even for her to say that, it was like, damn, it wasn't a problem when you was on stage trying to twerk and acting a damn fool. Like when you were selling us something, hip hop was cool. And now, but you can move out of it, and now we ain't shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, so that's where the emotional response starts to come from. Now, she eventually apologized, Post eventually apologized. So the thing is this, Tommy Richman isn't a rapper, and he may not even be hip hop. He, as a man, as an artist, he gets to define himself however he wants, and we're going to have to accept that. And I don't even think he was intending to be malicious, just like Head said. I don't think it was malicious. But he's benefited from his association with hip hop. He's absolutely benefited. And with that, then you got to be aware of what we say and how we say things. Let's be aware of the culture, the history of the culture. Again, he's a young guy, so he might not even know. I don't know how old he was when he might have been, I think he was born in 2000. So Jay-Z and Glastonbury happened in 2008. He was 8 years old. Like, he might not have the context for sure, but you got to kind of keep people around you. You got to do the knowledge. You got to do the research yourself. Let's be aware of the history of the culture. Let's be aware of the culture. Let's be aware and applaud how inclusive hip hop has actually been and how hurtful it is when hip hop is used as a prop and used as something to gain and is treated by a lot of artists, but again, particularly by white artists who can move in and out the culture as they please. So I just hope he learns something from this. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he gets to exist how he wants to exist. If you don't want to be hip hop, or if you don't want to be a rapper, but now he says he's not solely hip hop, if you don't want to be put in the box, that's fine, man. You get to define yourself as an artist as you please. But just be mindful to anybody about how you communicate this thing, especially when you was shown love, when you was given support, when you was uplifted by the culture and the genre. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe in the comments. I'm here. You might get a couple more videos out here before I head back home. We'll see. But I'm not gonna leave y'all flat. Like, if there's things to discuss, we're gonna find a way to discuss them. All right. Peace.